Our guest this morning is Gary Barve, who is brave. He's brave. B-R-A, it's Barve. He's brave because he is running for an interesting position. We just had the inauguration of President Donald J. Trump on the 20th, and the transition of power between the Democrats and the Republicans, and we're now into a new era of populism and back to 4 more years of Donald J. Trump trying to keep America great and the good things that he has talked about in his campaign. He's trying to bring, and he's had a flurry of activity in this first 4 days. It's been amazing what the administration is trying to do. Well, it seems like the campaign is over and that the president has been elected and we're on to this 4 years. But guess what? There's a person who's running for president of the United States. And Gary Barve, he's a presidential candidate, has filed his paperwork with the Federal Elections Commission and lives in Scottsdale, Arizona, and is running for President of the United States of America in 2028. So good morning to you, Gary.
Hey, good morning, Dr. Ed Ackerley. It's great to be on your show, the Jump in Tucson show, and thank you very much for giving me the great honor and opportunity to be a guest on your show. Thank you very much, sir.
It seems almost antithetical to talk to somebody who's running for President of the United States, and as I said, we just elected a president, and we're just starting a new administration. So we'll talk about how you got involved in thinking about running for president and your background. So let's start first, though, with a little bit we were talking in the green room about how the different states that you lived in the last few years and how you've crisscrossed the United States and have listened to a lot of people from a lot of different venues and even ran for federal office down in Florida. So tell us a little bit about some of the states you've been in the last few years and where you're from, and you're from New Jersey, but where you're from and how you landed up in Scottsdale.
Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Ackerley. So let me quickly introduce myself to your great listeners real quick. My name is Gary Barve, like you said, Dr. Ackerley. And
I call you Gary Brave because you're very brave to do this. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. So again, my name is Gary Barve. I'm officially running for President of the United States of America in the 2028 election as a Republican supporter of President Donald J. Trump. And I'm running because I love President Trump. I love our country, the greatest country in the world, the United States of America. And I love our great American people. And I want to help President Trump make America great again, keep America great, and save America. And I'm going to answer your question right now, Dr. Ackerley. So I was born in Summit, New Jersey in 1984. And unfortunately, I did not have the great opportunity of growing up in our great country. And my family relocated to India when I was about 4.5 years old. And I've been asked this question on air a lot, and I've always said this: I have President Donald J. Trump, Republican American blood in me. But unfortunately, like I said, I did not have the great opportunity of growing up in America. But as soon as I completed my undergrad, Dr. Ed, I relocated back home to Massachusetts. I was working there in technology as a sort of like a business analysis role. I then relocated to Dallas, Texas to pursue my full-time MBA at SMU, Southern Methodist University. I got my MBA in entrepreneurial strategy and marketing. This was like more than a decade back.
Right.
And, at the final stage of my MBA course, Dr. Ackerley, tragedy struck my life. And I went through a lot of personal challenges. I was diagnosed with a clinical depression-related illness right at the final stages of my MBA course. And
well, that MBA will do that to you. I want you to know that. Being a marketing major, marketing person myself.
Yeah. I mean, I'll give you that. MBA is it's sort of like a challenging degree to achieve. And, I'm glad that I got the degree. But, I did go through some tremendous challenges during that time. And I want to say this very strongly and confidently. I've now made a complete recovery from my battle with clinical depression-related illness, and I take no treatment now. And I thank Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior. I thank, again, I respect all religions, but I'm Christian. I believe in Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior. I believe the Bible is the Word of God. And so I thank Jesus Christ. I thank my mom and my dad, my parents. I thank the medical staff and my friends for giving me the ability to conquer this really horrific clinical depression-related illness. But in spite of the diagnosis, I completed my MBA and I relocated to California, and I was again working in technology for a little while.
Right.
And, I just realized at that time that technology is not really my calling in life. And I sort of realized or thought to myself, there's got to be more to life than working in technology. And I have nothing against the profession of technology. It's a great profession. But I just wanted to get involved in the political realm a little bit. And so I ran for city council in Santa Clara, California in the 2020 general election as a Republican supporter of President Donald J. Trump. And I actually, Dr. Ackerley, I wore a red Make Santa Clara Great hat during that campaign.
Right.
And, we had a tremendous result. We got a lot of press coverage, and we got 23% of the vote approximately in a 3-person race. And there were only about, to my memory, only about 17% Republicans in the district that I was running in.
Mm-hmm.
So, we had a tremendous result. And I then relocated to Lynchburg, Virginia. I got into Liberty University, which is, as I'm sure you know, and I'm sure your great listeners know as well, is one of the largest Christian schools in the country. And I did not graduate from there, but I completed one course there. And then I relocated to Florida and ran for U.S. Congress there in the 23rd district in Florida, and then decided I want to run for president. And the reason for that is very simple. It's what I said at the start of the show. I love President Trump. I love our country. I love our great American people, and I want to help President Trump make America great again, keep America great, and save America. And also because America runs through my blood, body, mind, and soul. And I love the country, Dr. Ed. And there's this great book by President Trump. I've been tremendously positively influenced by President Trump for many years. And, I love President Trump. And in his book, Think Big, it's titled Think Big by President Trump. He wrote it a few years back. And I believe this is the greatest book ever written after the Bible.
Right.
I really do believe that. And, in the book, he talks about many things. He talks about think big. He talks about never give up. He says, never, ever, ever, ever give up. Always keep fighting. Keep moving forward. He says, go against the tide, right? Which means go against the current, go against the convention. He says that's where the big successes come. And I want to make the country successful. I love the country. I want to make the country successful, Dr. Ed. And he says, love the country and serve the country. And I talked with a few of my friends and colleagues, and I said, I want to run for president of the United States of America. I want to go against the tide in a really, really strong way. And so filed my initial paperwork with the FEC on September 5th, 2024. And I've been campaigning quite a bit in Iowa. I've campaigned in Florida. I actually spoke at an event that Charlie Kirk spoke at. He was the main speaker. I spoke 1 or 2 lines about my campaign at that event in Florida. I've campaigned in Nevada, Las Vegas, and I've also campaigned in Arizona. And so I live in Scottsdale, Arizona now, and running a really strong campaign. And I'm looking forward to, obviously, great 4 years under the leadership of the 47th President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump.
Well, you got a great head start. You're 4 years ahead of anybody else who's actually declared for president. When we come back after the break, we'll talk to you a little bit more about your aspirations for becoming president in 2028. And the good things that your candidacy may offer to American voters. You're listening to Jump in Tucson on KVOI 1030 AM The Voice. We'll be back after the break. Welcome back to Jump in Tucson. I am Dr. Ed Ackerley, your host for the Friday Success Story. And one gentleman who wants to be successful as his bid for President of the United States is Gary Barve. And he is a resident of Scottsdale, Arizona, and has a aspiration to follow Donald J. Trump, who he is admirer of Donald J. Trump, and he wants to become the president of the United States in the Republican Party. And so he got his start in September of 2024 and filed with the FEC, and now he is running as a legitimate candidate for president of the United States and has 4 years to get his word out. And you should see this guy in the green room and in the working in the hallways and so forth. Every single person he meets, he introduces himself, he hands him his card, he tells him who he is. He's, and as P.T. Barnum said, I don't care if you misspell my name, just get it into the newspaper. It seems to me like, Gary, you're doing a good job of engaging every person you meet and telling them your story. So kudos to you on that. Your MBA paid big dividends of marketing.
Well, I think more than the MBA, I'm sure the MBA is working in my favor as well, but more than the MBA, just the love I have for the American people. I love the people. I love meeting American people. I've been to probably, Dr. Ed, about 100 Republican meetings over the last 4.5 years, and I just love connecting with the American people and sort of interacting with them about the America First agenda, talking about President Trump and our country, which is, by the way, the greatest country in the world, the United States of America. Right. And so I thank you very much for the kind words, though. Appreciate it. Yes, sir.
We've talked about America and the great melting pot that it is. And, of course, over the last couple hundred years, lots of people have come from lots of different places. to make our country what it is today. And so one of the big agenda items, obviously, even this week, the president has signed some administrative orders and is refocusing the federal infrastructure on the borders and so forth, specifically the southern border and immigration. And we all know that our even Democrats would agree that our immigration system is kind of broken, and it's been difficult to try and keep track of the people who are coming in, or are they coming in legally, and who gets asylum and so forth. So this is one of your big issues, is illegal immigration, and to build off of what President Trump is doing, that's something you want to look forward to in the future, is to make sure that we fix our illegal immigration system, right?
Yes, Dr. Ed, that is correct. So I believe illegal immigration is completely destroying our country from within. And I want to share a quick story with you and your great listeners as well. So July 13th was obviously, as you know, the horrific assassination attempt against President Trump, right?
Right.
And I was actually at that time a candidate for U.S. Congress in Florida. And I was at the time of the horrific assassination attempt, I was at a Vietnamese Make America Great Again event. And I was actually in conversation with a candidate for sheriff when the horrific assassination attempt happened. And he's the one who broke the news to me. He said, "Gary, President Trump has been shot." And I was devastated because I love President Trump. But even in that moment of devastation, I said to the candidate for sheriff, "But President Trump is okay, right? Nothing can happen to him." And I said that because I genuinely believe that Jesus Christ is with President Trump. Mm-hmm. And so I went on stage like a few minutes, like an hour and a half after the actual horrific assassination attempt happened on July 13th. I went on stage and I said the following three things to the great American patriots at that event. I said, first, my direct message to the criminals and the gangs and the cartels such as MS-13, to the drug dealers, to the drug smugglers, to the human traffickers is this: your brutal reign of terror in our great United States of America will come to an end on November 5th, 2024, when President Donald J. Trump will win the election, and we will once again shut down the southern border. We will build the wall. We will stop catch and release. We will stop asylum fraud, and we will designate all foreign cartels in our country as foreign terrorist organizations, and we will choke off their supply to the global financial system, and we will once again make America great again. Second, my direct message to the criminals is this: if you fire a bullet at President Donald J. Trump, or if you fire a bullet at me, Gary Barve, fighting for my and our great United States of America, I believe, and I believe President Trump also believes, it is not our responsibility to duck from the bullet. It is the bullet's responsibility to miss us. And the third thing I said was, what I said earlier as well, I believe Jesus Christ is with President Trump, Jesus Christ is with our country, right, and Jesus Christ is with our great American people. So I'll just say this. There are these gangs that have come into our country, Dr. Ackerley. There's this gang, I don't know if you have heard of this gang. They call themselves Tren de Aragua. Right? It's a Venezuelan gang that's come across the southern border into our great United States of America. And, first thing I'll say is, what a stupid name for a gang, right? Who names their gang Tren de Aragua? It's a stupid name. But these gang members are vicious, and they literally took over a building in Colorado recently. There's another gang, like I said, that's come into our country, MS-13. These gang members are so vicious, they literally cut people up just for fun. And so my direct message right now to these gang members, and I hope they're listening into your show, my direct message to these gang members is, get the hell out of our great United States of America. If you don't, we will incarcerate members of your gang, or we will kick out of our country members of your gang. I'll say this right now. I'm ready to take a bullet for our great American people, because I want to keep our great American people safe and secure. That is very important to me. And I'll tell you what, if I get elected 48th President of the United States of America, I will make sure that the illegal immigration goes down to zero and the gangs get out of our country. I think they should start getting out of our country right now under the leadership of President Donald J. Trump. And so that's sort of my position on the illegal immigration that's going on in our country. I want to keep our country safe and secure.
Well, I think, Mr. Barve, if you're going to be successful as President of the United States, you have to have a little passion. It's unfortunate you don't have any passion.
Oh, I love the sarcasm. Now, Mr. Ed, actually, I'm getting to know you a little bit better, but I love the sarcasm. But you're right. I think I'm really passionate about our country. I love the country, and I'm ready to fight for our country in a very strong way.
I think the independents and the Democrats, everything you said about illegal immigration and the criminals and and all of that situation that is human trafficking, drugs. There isn't, I don't think, an American that loves our country that thinks that is the right thing for our country. And so I think you're onto something with that. Obviously, with that, there's people that are caught up in the immigration system. And basically, I think Democrats, independents, and Republicans can all agree that the immigration system is broken and that Congress has to tackle this in a broader stroke. It's only so much that President Trump can do at this point with the restrictions that the immigration system has on the administration. So as we move through the next 4 years and into maybe your term, we can look at how can we solve that immigration problem on a legislative side, because that's where the problem is the presidents are hamstrung in what they can do because of the lack of legislation that is favorable. And I think I saw Ilhan Omar yesterday on one
she's horrible. Yeah.
I know, but she even said that the immigration system is broken, and then she's as left as they can possibly be. And so I think you have total agreement amongst Democrats, independents, and Republicans that the illegal immigration has to be fixed. However we get to that solution is great.
But let me quickly say this. The first thing I'll say is I support legal or lawful immigration. Legal or lawful immigration is fine. Illegal immigration is not fine. And my simple message right now to any people who are Democrat people or like belong to the Democrat Party or people who are independents, my simple message to you is this. Do you really want MS-13 and Tren de Aragua living in your neighborhood? Because that's what's been happening under Kamala and Joe Biden. I call her dumb as a rock Kamala and crooked Joe Biden. That's exactly what has been happening under the leadership of, or whatever, lack of leadership of these two people. And so, I want to see all American people safe and secure, Democrat, independent, Republican. And so I'm just going to ask one question to the Democrats and the independents. If you don't really want MS-13 and Tren de Aragua and gangs like that in your country, why are you really supporting Kamala? Ask yourself that question. President Donald J. Trump is keeping you, our great American people, first. He wants to keep the American people first, all American people first, and he wants to keep them safe and secure. He wants to bring down inflation. He wants to build a great economy for our country, and he wants to do so many great things for our country on the perspective of education, on the perspective of free speech, on the perspective of the Second Amendment. He wants to keep our country prosperous and make our country great again. And so I humbly ask you to please ask yourself the question, if you're a Democrat or an independent, why are you really supporting Kamala? Ask yourself that question, please.
If somebody wanted to support you and be involved in your campaign, obviously you need to raise money, but you need to raise awareness. You need to raise engagement with voters in all parts of the country. How can someone get involved in your campaign and find more about Gary Barve and what you stand for as a presidential candidate?
Great question, Dr. Ackerley. First, I'll say I'd love to be back on your show. I think that's a great way to get the message out. And you can also, to your great listeners, they can also find me on my campaign website. It's www.garybarveforamerica.com. I'll spell it for you. Gary is spelled Gary. Gary. Barve is spelled B as in boy, A as in America, R as in Republican, V as in victory, E as in elephant, for, F-O-R, America.com. So it's www.garybarveforamerica.com. And, like I said, I'm ready to take a bullet for our great American people and for our country. And I really am in this to win this. I really want to win this, not for some power grab, but because I want to make America great again, keep America great, and save America as a Republican supporter of President Donald J. Trump. So if you want to visit my campaign website, if you want to connect with me as I'm talking to your great listeners right now, please feel free to do so. And if you want to make a campaign contribution, that'll be appreciated as well. Like you said, Dr. Ackerley, campaign contributions are required, whether you like it or not. They're required to run a campaign. And so would appreciate any support and hope that you would support my campaign.
Well, as a guy that ran for mayor a couple of times, I know it's not an easy decision to, it is an easy decision, but it's a hard decision to say I'm going to drop everything and run for an office. It's even your run for a congressional office and even the city council in Santa Clara. You don't come to these decisions lightly, and working in the space of presidential elections, just think of the immense amount of work that has to be done between now and then. So kudos to you for kind of going against the grain and thinking big and
Thank you,
going
sir.
against the grain and saying, I'm going to give this a shot and we can see what happens. And I know you want to win, and I know you want to be the next president, the 48th president, but also just going through the process and sharing your thoughts with other people is an important thing. So thank you for being on the show today. We'll have you back.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.